Welcome to this Zentangle Quickie. My name is Heather Hartwick Gladden. I'm a certified Zentangle teacher, and today we're going to take a look at the Tangle Croon, and no, we're not going to be singing, by CZT Margaret Bremner. Some will know what a crooner is. I'm just thinking, oh, there you go again, Heather, dating yourself. Gosh darn it. Anyway, all right. So this is a neat idea um, in dealing with orbs. So I'm gonna put just a little. I'm putting a shape in. So pretending this is a section in my tile that I want to fill in. And let's see. I'm gonna fill it in with orbs. But what else could I do with those orbs? And Margaret Bremner came up with a fantastic idea, kind of thinking about crescent moons and orbs. All right, so what I'm going to do is we're just going to fill in with orbs and different sizes. What I like to do is start filling in with some larger ones in just varying places, and then working to fill in. Now, if you take a look at Margaret's step out, which is, there's a link for it in the description box, she leaves some more gaps in between hers, and I kind of like having them just a little bit closer together, which you know what that means. It's completely up to you what you do with that. But I like to, like I said, I start off with putting some just randomly in whatever space. Whoops, that one went over. Whatever space that I'm working in, and I do this with regular orbs as well, and then fill in from there. One of the things that I challenge myself with, or the reason I do that, let me just say it this way, is I feel like I want to have some randomness. And I don't know any other way to make myself do them random except for that. Just like I said, scatter some out just like I did, and then fill in. Now, we will be filling in the background just like you would normally with say, tipple, because that's kind of like what this is. So just understanding that, that's what you'll do. Okay, once you have all of your orbs set, then we're going to put some crescent moons in. And, of course, up to you. So I'm just picking one and picking a direction. And up to you, how thin or how much of a moon you're going to have. And then what I also make sure to do is just turn my tile a little bit or a lot of it. So that way I'm not doing it the same way every time. And I'm kind of starting with some of the bigger ones. Oh, look at that. I've bent my... Oh, I think this is the one, that the pen that I did a dot and I pushed a little too hard, and I saw it bend, and now it just continues. All right, let's still behaving for now. Now, let me share one thing. If you do like I do, when I'm not doing orbs slowly, I end up with, something off, so I don't finish them, and end nicely. I end up with something like this. So take a look at those maybe even first. And it's like, oh, well, guess what that's going to be? That's going to be the start of my crescent moon. Oh, who will know? Only us. These, I just don't worry about sometimes. And like I said, as I'm reminding myself, turn the tile every so often so that way we, it's just... Oh, we need to have one underneath here. Oh, here's where I kind of went a little bit bumpy. Let's do that. And then up to you if you want to do these smaller ones. I think I shall. And you don't have to turn your tile. I just find it a little bit easier, and if it can help me make up my mind as to what I'm doing, just by turning randomly and just, picking an orb and going with it, then if that helps you, then great. one thing too that I noticed with this is I was making a lot of my, when I was playing with it, making my crescents really small or thin, and not that it matters, but then I went back and looked at Margaret's. Let's see, how do I want to do this? At her step out, I was like, oh, she made them a little bit thicker, so I should do that. And let's do this one like this. And, alternatively, well, no, I take that back. The smaller ones, because I was thinking you could just fill them in. And you could maybe with something else. But if you fill them in solid, then that is just going to make them blend into the background. So you're not going to want to fill those in solid. I'm trying to think what tangle it is. All right, then we're done. Okay, good. Jetties is one that we use a lot of orbs and do a different pattern on the inside. And I know I do have a video on that one. If you want to take a look at that. And that one, sometimes we'll do smaller ones and just fill them in because that one we don't fill in the background on that one generally. All right, now next step is we're just going to put some straight lines. And a lot of times I like to start in the middle and work my way out either side. Actually, with this one, it doesn't matter so much. But what you want to do is, so I'm turning my tile so that way the crescent is pointing up, we should say, and then I'm doing straight lines down from that, kind of like from what I would consider the center. Now, I'm going to guess you could do your lines however you want. It's nice to have it consistent, so like, the way I'm doing it, having them perpendicular to the curve of the crescent moon is nice. And then I'm turning it as I have put the crescents on different sides, and so that just makes it interesting. So if you end up doing it a different way, just be consistent with it, and that will be good. Actually, some of these look like they could turn into acorns. Which is just funny because if when I do something like that, and what I love about Zentangle is how sometimes we have things that turn out looking like something else, even though it's non-representational and all of that. And it's just so fun because if somebody said, well, hey, Heather, go draw this, and I'd be like, yeah, no. But because of the wonderful Zentangle method and just following the steps, then all of a sudden, to me, I get excited about it because it opens doors in my mind creatively. It's like, oh, well, hey, I could draw an acorn if I ever wanted to, or something. Because we have it's like building blocks, and that's one of the things that I love about Zentangle being a non-artist, is that it has really opened up that creative, besides the creative outlet, just the creative door. All right, and one more. You see how that just kind of looks? It just looks neat, and what a neat something else to do with orbs if you want a little something more, and you have space. I think this one is better when you're able to put in some larger ones. Now, as I mentioned, what I'm going to do now is just fill in behind, so in all of those little gaps. And what I like to do when I'm doing this, especially around the edge, is where my pencil line is, or my string. Like I said, I'm pretending this is a string line. So wherever my string line would be, I sometimes will go over that first, and then fill in from there. And then you also have to remember that, like right there, I had this. Where did it go? Right here, this little teeny gap. Here's another one. Oh, here's another one. Sometimes I think I need to make sure to follow some kind of order, whether it's going around the outside and then working my way inside, or it probably just doesn't matter. And it's just a matter of going back and looking and making sure that I got all of them. But when we do some shading, that's usually when they all show up anyway, the pieces that we forgot. Now, I will mention also, if need be, so because we're doing fill-in, if you need to adjust something that, oh, here, like this, I think this is the one that made me think, I can't remember if this is the one that made me think acorn or not, but see, it kind of looks a little egg-shaped. So say I want to make that just a little bit more round. So because I'm filling in, I can just round that right off. And if I hadn't have told you, then it would, well, I'll just do it. That'll just be our secret. But there's other places where I end up going over just because I'm not being careful, and it's just nice to have that in my head that, oh, you know what, I'm going to be doing these, filling in these little gaps afterwards, so it's fine. I also, that's why I mentioned it early on, that we're going to be filling these in, because I also keep in mind as I'm doing it, how much time do I want to spend filling in, or do I like having a lot of space, this, that I'm filling in, or do I want it a little bit more tightly compact? So it's just something to consider as you're placing them, and it's a for sure up to you idea. A lot of times I stick with the 01, the smaller, finer line, just because there's all these little places. But I suppose if I left it, if I had it more open, I would probably start with or use the larger, probably that graphic 1 pen, and save some of the little tighter spaces for a smaller nib. And like I said, sometimes I have no rhyme or reason as I'm filling these in. I just, when I see it, I'm trying to work in an area so that way I don't get the, oops, as I'm trying to do some shading. Oh, look what I missed. I see just a few more spaces on the inside here. But you can see how neat that looks. It just makes it pop when we add this, when we add the color behind it. Now, I will say this as a thought. Say you want to use some color. Do you have to use black to fill in? Nope. It does, though, cover things up. So if you weren't doing, if you did the croons in black, and you're needing to adjust something, if you're using a color, it's not gonna work so well. Or like here, where I can see where my lines went totally over that. I'm like, oh, good. I'm glad I'm going to be filling that in, so that way they're just hidden. And then too, sometimes I get a little sloppy, so then I just very carefully redraw that outer edge. As you can see, it just totally neatened it up. And then, oops, here's something I forgot. And then too, if there was something that you just didn't like one of these little teeny orbs, because there's the one I'm like, well, maybe if I could just cover over that whole thing, and it's okay. All right. Looking quickly, I think this is the last one, and over here it's just kind of sloppy. So let's do this. Oh, I know, that's because that's that place where I went over. So very carefully. Oh, yep, see? Oh, and that one, I'm not going to worry about that, I don't think. Oh, wait, let's just do this. I'll just put a little, there we go. I'll just fill it in. Ha! That works. All right. So that looks neat. And you don't have to shade this, by the way, if you don't want to. But if you do, here's a way to approach it. First, I'm just going to put some graphite in right where, let's see, I'll try to do this so I don't have to turn my tile too many times. Well, actually, I'll break my own rule of putting the point of the pencil on the tip, or where I want the graphite. Well, instead of reach like this, I'm essentially reaching over that crescent. I probably don't even need to put any on those little ones because I can use what's left on the tortillon. And actually I was, after I'm going on and on about filling in the background, I just, had this thought because I know when I was looking around at this, you could, if you wanted to, leave the background open and you could fill in the crescent parts. That's a thought. And I am just, oh, see, look at how neat that is. And we're just, like I said, adding a little depth. It actually then makes that crescent pop by adding that graphite underneath and spreading it out a little bit. Some of the smaller ones, my tortillon just kind of covers, so they're just going to be gray. And that's okay. And just in the line section. So I'm working to not go into the white, the crescent part at all. And look at how neat that looks. I was thinking that, and of course you could go in, to that crescent and shade that if you wanted to make it look, kind of curvy. But I'm thinking right now that looks kind of neat, just as it is, in making, the crescent parts really pop. So, whoops, there we go. Yeah. So what a neat, fill in type of tangle. So if you do, like I said, if you're doing something and you're going to add some orbs, maybe this would be a neat addition, to where you put your orbs. I think it's just kind of it's kind of a cool tangle. So thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, would love to have the, like, share it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Would love to have you as a subscriber. Of course, that is free. And also in that description section below the step outs are ways to connect with me if you wish. I have my website there. I think I have a link to the Tangle Addicts community on Facebook. I am putting things on Pinterest now pretty regularly. Oh, no, Pinterest. Pinterest is not as regularly, and that's not something that you really have a conversation on. It's if you use it, you know what I mean. I am posting there. Instagram is what I meant. I am posting there. If you go to the well, actually, if you just go to my website, on the upper right or mid right underneath the header are links. So would love to have you follow if you like, and if you've never done a live class, would love to have you join me every Thursday, unless there's a holiday or something comes up. I do 2 free sessions, and then on an occasional Tuesday, I will do something. Right now it's been once a month, and I debate on which way I'm going with that. And then I also have some paid classes that I do once a month. And anyway, would love to have you join us. Thanks again so much for watching, and I wish you happy tangling.